We just had the two worst consecutive days in the history of the S&P 500, and the last time this happened was all the way back during the 2008 financial collapse here. So today's video is gonna be absolutely crucial to understand, because I'm gonna be breaking down what currently is happening, because yesterday we saw over $3 trillion once again getting wiped out from off the US stock market. But apparently, like you can see over here, Bitcoin is holding up extremely strong right now. So I'm gonna be exactly talk about this correlation, about the breakout we're basically seeing against the stock market, against gold, and against the Dow Jones and Nasdaq. So a lot to discuss there, including the fact that we are likely going to be seeing even more rate cuts later this year here. I mean, I want to be breaking it all down on today's update video. So I'm going to be talking about Bitcoin, the imminent short term, the consolidation patterns, the CME gap, and much more on today's update video. So don't forget to once again slap up that like button back above 1,000 likes will be highly appreciated. And with that being said, let me jump straight away in towards today's update video. So first of all, I quickly want to be pointing out Bitcoin, its hash rate is absolutely going parabolic right now. And if I must be looking at the hash ribbons indicator, even on the 2-week time frame right now here, which is way more rare, we are also seeing a major buy signal is flashing. And the last few times this signal has flashed, every single time, guys, it has corresponded with a major lag towards the upside. So once again, this signal is flashing and something is telling us that the market is about to go boom again here. Then I quickly want to be diving in towards a very important chart, which is the Bitcoin divided by the S&P 500. Now, once again, we're starting to see a breakout against the S&P 500, because right now, clearly, Bitcoin is significantly outperforming the S&P 500. And whenever we're setting a new all-time high, it is obviously going to be great, because that shows us there's even more adoption in the entire market. But of course, what happened yesterday, like I said in the intro, yesterday we saw over $3.2 trillion getting wiped out from off the US stock market. And this recent drop here, the last 48 hours, the last 2 days here, has been the worst. And the last time we have seen this, actually the only time we have seen this, was during the 2008 financial collapse. And of course, we have seen it yesterday. So this is actually quite huge what we're currently seeing. I mean, you can currently see it also from the chart. The stock market is absolutely imploding. And of course, the reasons why this is happening is due to the fact that Trump is, of course, signing all these tariffs, and Bitcoin is holding up very strong. But you can also expect, if the stock market is then going to be bouncing back towards the upside, Bitcoin is probably going to be benefiting from the volatility back towards the upside again here. Because as assets are dropping very quickly, it can also rebound very quickly. Because look at all these corrections. This was, let's say, the pandemic crash all the way back in 2020. We had a major collapse here, but of course also look at how fast the recovery was back towards the upside. So you have to understand these things here. When we crash hard, we can also bounce extremely hard back towards the upside. And especially since, of course, the entire goal of Donald Trump here is to, of course, lower the interest rates, because otherwise the USA is going bankrupt, because they have huge debt, over $37 trillion in debt. And of course, their debt is all based on how much interest rate they have to pay on it. Now they have to pay every year trillions of dollars to, of course, cover their interest rates. And of course, if the interest rates go lower, it's going to get only cheaper. And that is, of course, what Donald Trump has stated many times before. He wants to get the interest rates lower, and he will go through pain if it's necessary. And ultimately, if the interest rates are going to be dropping, it is going to be a great thing for Bitcoin. And I mean, and if I'm right now looking at the stock market on the weekly time frame, I am currently clearly seeing that, yeah, we are right now at lows on the RSI on the weekly time frame we have not seen since the 2022 bear market or the 2020 pandemic collapse here. So there's extreme fear in the market right now here, but historically, extreme fear equals major opportunity. And I mean, the best part about it, since I'm a lover of Bitcoin and I mainly hold Bitcoin, is that Bitcoin is just casually doing nothing. Well, of course, these other stocks are absolutely dumping. They're absolutely crashing. So that is just a very great thing to be seeing. Then also the things that Donald Trump is doing is, of course, to maybe also bring down the tariffs from these other countries like Vietnam. And yeah, apparently it's working, because Vietnam is also cutting their tariffs to the United States of America to 0% here. And honestly, I do expect that more deals are going to get cut with the UK, with Europe and Canada in the upcoming days. And ultimately that could give some relief towards the entire market. And at the same time, Bitcoin is still particularly low on funding rates. It's actually still negative, especially on also the most of the altcoins. And yeah, historically, if we are looking back at negative funding rates in the market, it always has corresponded with a bottom in the market, because whenever everyone thinks Bitcoin is going to crash lower, it usually is bottomed out here. So that is why I'm actually quite excited for what we're currently seeing, and that is why I'm also actually expecting we're probably going to be in for another push higher. Then still, there's extreme fear in the market, which is of course a normal thing to be seeing, and historically always whenever there's so much fear in the market, it equals once again also buying opportunities. Like I said in many videos before here, so far 0 out of the 30 bull market peak indicators has flashed here, indicating us that we're still likely in this bull market and that still a bear market is not going to be here. And yeah, if I'm looking at many of these charts, guys, we are potentially right now creating that higher low structure here on the inverse head and shoulders pattern. And of course, if we can right now confirm a break above the previous high, we could be in for a major continuation towards the upside. So Bitcoin is in a major consolidation phase on the daily time frame. It is creating a downward sloping trend line. It is creating an upward sloping support line. And basically we are seeing that the markets is getting squeezed up here. We are right now, however, creating another CME gap over the course of this weekend, sitting around $83,887. I'm expected, of course, that once again, during the weekend, we're going to be hovering around this price. And if we don't, we're likely going to be filling it up on the next week here, just like we have done on most of the occasions. Then, of course, quickly looking at Bitcoin on the 3-day time frame, we've still not broken the downward sloping trend line. We're ultimately still trading in a downtrend, but of course, whenever Bitcoin does break above the previous high in the market, I do think we're going to be in for a major continuation back towards the upside. And then, of course, levels around $100,000 are going to come quite quickly for Bitcoin once again here. Then ultimately, we're still sitting at that weekly support line. We're flashing that buy signal on the hash ribbons. And of course, guys, if you want to be joining me with any trades right now here, you can right now copy my exact Bitcoin and Ethereum longer term trading strategies, which in my opinion are great levels of accumulation right now here, since we're sitting particularly low in the market. You can copy my exact trading bots here if you go to the link in the description of today's video. And of course, if you sign up an account to Pionex, you will already get a free $1,000 rewarded towards your account for completely nothing. So if you're interested in that, check it out in the link description of today's video. But anyways, Bitcoin remains to be oversold here. If you compare Bitcoin to Nvidia or any other AI stock here, guys, it is showing us a very strong bottom. Bitcoin is breaking out against the Nasdaq. The last time we did so, we went absolutely parabolic. And of course, if we're looking then also at some altcoins and Ethereum, I mean, Ethereum is sitting at the legendary support line. It has been holding on towards this level. And of course, this man, BlackRock, owns loads of Ethereum. And of course, yesterday we saw also a major whale buying over 4,000 Ethereum. And honestly, if I look at this chart, we're creating a falling wedge pattern with a bullish divergence on the daily time frame. It shows us that something big is literally loading right now here, and we're about to get probably a major reversal right here. I think that the risk to reward on Ethereum can't get any worse than this, and yeah, that is why I've decided to allocate a big portion of my portfolio right now towards Ethereum. I've opened some major trades on Ethereum as well. And I think we could be in for a bounce all the way back to $2,500. So yeah, this is what I'm expecting. This is what I'm looking at right now here. But anyways, guys, this was it for me in today's update video. If you did enjoy it, learn something from this video, slap on that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Goodbye.